America's Third Party. ATP presents America's Third Party's weekly address. I'm David John Sponheim, running for president in 2012.
And I'm Sarah Hart, the campaign manager for America's Third Party. There's some really interesting things happening in the news this week. America is totally dissatisfied with our current government. Obama's ratings are the lowest they've ever been in history. The one thing they're more disappointed in than Obama is Congress.
Right, 80% want switch outs in Congress, want new people. A third party has never been more ready than right now.
Yeah, there's lots of interesting people in the news saying that now is the time for a third party. That what they really need to hear about is America's Third Party and David John Sponheim for president.
Well, this week has been pretty exciting. We're seeing our numbers growing across the nation, and we're beginning to see people working in the field getting ballot access. I know many states are starting to get the petitions out. You've been doing a great job with that, Sarah.
And I want to take this opportunity to thank all of my volunteers, because without you, it wouldn't be possible. This week, actually, American Change Party has jumped on board America's Third Party, and JP Grund from American Change Party is going to be the Hawaii State Chair. Thank you, JP.
Yes, thank you. And thank you all of the supporters who've actually dedicated their time working on our social networking sites. This problem is so severe. The waste in the government has not been cut, and paltry cuts in the waste are not enough. The super Congress that they're creating, and I believe it's unconstitutional to have a super Congress, does not solve our problem. They haven't even begun to look at the real waste. You know, we're looking at Canada right now, seeing 6% unemployment. Their dollar is actually worth more than ours, and they have cut waste 20% in almost every area over the past 2 years. We have not, and we're paying the price.
I know some people say it's because of the recession is the time to actually spend money, but I think it's time to actually take a look at what we need to cut. And unfortunately, the Congress that we have and the administration that we have, it seems to be always, like I said last week, passing the buck. We address actual ways to cut the waste. We're going to be releasing a newsletter this week where I talk about our medicine shortages that we're facing here in the U.S. and how we can actually have the government make money from having a government pharmaceutical company. This is actually an idea David came up with a couple of years ago.
It's part of our hybrid capitalism idea that we are writing about in a book which will be published at the end of the year called Hybrid Capitalism. The amount of waste from illegal or non-U.S. citizens drawing on our Social Security benefits are addressed in the newsletter by me, and I'm really targeting the $50 billion in international foreign aid that we're giving away as well, and we'll talk about that on economic collapse. This is Countdown to Economic Collapse. The past 3 weeks have been the worst for stocks in the past 2.5 years. That means that we've had a major roller coaster ride, and investors are scrambling for places to put their money. At one point, gold was up over $1,800 an ounce, and we're seeing overall changes in the economic outlook for the country and for the world. Energy prices are down significantly, and many people believe that this coming up week will be a rebound in the cost of a barrel of oil. We shall see. They cannot lie about the recession being over. They have to admit that there's still a recession. In fact, I believe Obama should state that there's a depression now. And we need to be realistic about the amount of spending that we're currently engaging in. As you probably know, Obama has overspent by $1.6 trillion every year that he's been president. And much of this must be blamed on him and the Democrats. They failed to realize that the programs that they had in place were going to continue to drown and waste American taxpayer dollars. Our country is swimming in costs, pension plans that could go belly up right now, municipal bonds that could turn, and there could be $1 to $2 trillion in municipal bonds that could affect everything from the derivatives market to the mortgage-backed securities. Now clearly we have to cut the waste. If we don't cut the waste, it's going to drown us in the budget. Now what we are finding is that the government is spending $50 billion in U.S. foreign aid. I'm going to detail all of that. And Obama has committed $100 billion to the UN, which is absurd. We can't possibly pay that. Take a look at these figures. Okay, this information is from Accuracy in the Media. The president has donated $100 billion to the United Nations. The U.S. State Department announced that Obama has agreed to contribute $4 billion to the UN Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, malaria from 2011 to 2013. And that's an increase of 38% over the previous U.S. commitment to this fund. The totals are staggering. $100 billion over a period of 6 years. Part of the Millennium Directive was to do more aid to global concerns. The problem is we can't afford it. They're funneling $63 billion to the Global Health Initiative during the next 6 years, making $1 billion annually to education programs. We're spending $4.5 million a year through the Peace Corps to teach Chinese people in China English, which doesn't serve our purposes in America at all. So these are very concerning statistics, and we'll take a look closer now at how much money each country is making on the map. Okay, this is the map for foreign assistance from the government. Foreignassistance.gov gives us an example here is $39 million to Serbia. It's destined for 2012. Bosnia will get $50 million. Let's travel down to Kosovo. They'll get $67 million in foreign assistance requested. And let's see, $19 million to Macedonia. But the real numbers are huge in the Mediterranean. Let's take a look at Gaza and West Bank, $513 million. And let's not forget $675 million to Jordan, along with $3 billion and $75 million to Israel, $1.557 billion to Egypt. Afghanistan is going to get a huge chunk, $3.2 billion in 2012. Pakistan, $2.965 billion. $142 million is requested by India. And what's really strange is we're giving China requested totals of $12.85 million in 2012. Now, this is down from the previous year. They were up around 26 million to China in 2009, 27 in 2010, and now they're going down to 12.9 million. That's a start. But really, why are we giving foreign aid to China, which owns our debt of $2.1 trillion, has a trade imbalance of $250 billion a year? So in total, our country is giving away nearly $50 billion a year to foreign countries in the form of foreign aid. This is a staggering amount, considering we are facing a budgetary crisis of the highest magnitude. These are shocking statistics. And what's worse, we are paying out money to non-U.S. citizens living in this country in the form of Social Security benefits, Section 8 housing, welfare, and refugee pay. There's over 30 million of these people, and they're collecting close to $300 billion. That's got to stop, and I assure you, that won't happen under my watch. I will be very, very sure that I will pay Americans first when we dole out payments to people that are currently in need, like the disabled and the old people and the military and the veterans. These are the people that truly need our money and your taxpayer dollars. I'm David John Sponheim, and I want you to join America's Third Party and go to americasthirdparty.com and become involved in this brand new movement that's sweeping the country. And we can talk to you directly every night, weekdays, 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll talk about it live in our chat show at Blog TV.
So that's tinyurl.com/ATPblogTV. Also, please go to tinyurl.com/votocracy and like David Sponheim's candidate page.
And get me some mass media representation, which I think will change everything for the third parties. Thank you.
One more thing is davidsponheim.com is David's new webpage for his candidacy directly, so you can go there and donate to David John Sponheim for president. If you would like to volunteer for America's Third Party, simply email me, sarah@americasthirdparty.com, put in your subject, I want to help, and I'll get you started.
Check us out at americasthirdparty.com.